we've laid out or planned the spreadsheet. Now, just quickly, what we can do is we can select row 4, click on the border 4. That'll select the whole row all the way across the spreadsheet, and what we want to do is we want to wrap text. And we'll look and see what happens with a wrap text. Remember we said Microsoft Office and the way it pushes Excel to the second line, we're going to select wrap text, and look what happens. See the way it pushed it to a second line or more. In the case of total deductions, the word deductions is it can accommodate the word deductions in full row. So what we'll do is if you take this here mouse and run it up between R and S, it turns into a crosshair. Now if you hold down a left click on your mouse and drag it to the right, see it changing to a 9.14. Let's go 9.57. It's still not enough, so press it again, and let's go a little bit more. Go 10.57. There, that's enough. And let's just scanning across. It's pretty well accommodated everything. Now another thing, just to make it look pleasing to the eye, let's go and click on 4 again. And now what we're going to do is we want to go to this alignment. Everything is aligned to the left, as you can see, and the reason is because it's alpha. They contain letters, and we're going to go and center. So then what happens as soon as we click that icon, everything's centered in the respective cell. Now another thing is we got our hours worked. Hours worked, it spans over regular and overtime. So let's go and click into cell C3, hold down your shift button, and using your directional arrow on your keyboard, we're going to highlight, in addition to C3, which is the active cell, let's select D3 and E3. Now what we'll do is, now that it's selected, we're going to go and click on merge and center. And see, that's done. Let's do the same with our earnings. Hold down the shift button, take your directional arrow to the right, and select overtime earnings, taxable benefits, and taxable earnings. Merge and center. And let's do the same with our deductions. Merge and center. Perfectly done. So now you have your net pay. Now, we just look here, and we know that there's some items here on the spreadsheet that are going to you're going to have to manually input stuff in, and then there's some that you're going to use formulas. Now we're going to have to go and put the month in, the date, the regular hours worked, overtime hours at the different compensation rates, your rate, and what we're going to do is we're going to put them into a distinguishing color, and and that is what they call fill color. So we're going to go and select a fill color. Now we've got our regular earnings. Regular earnings are going to be a formula. Overtime earnings are going to be a formula. Your taxable benefits is going to be a manual entry. So let's go back to rate, because what we're going to do is we're going to copy the format for the rate. And remember we said at the first that your shortcut for copy is Control-C. So let's hold down the Control button, press C. That is, see the squiggly line around it? So the contents there are put onto what they call a clipboard. And we're going to go and take the cursor, we're going to put it into I5, and remember the paste is Control-V. Look what happens. Great. Now we know that your CPP, EI, and income tax are items that are going to have to be input from the based on the deductions that we calculate. So click into K5, hold down your shift button, select L5 and M5, and take your hand off the shift button, and let's go Control-V. There. The same thing with our health and dental, union dues, and charity. those items are going to be entered too. So hold down your shift button, take your mouse, your pointer, and go and select P5, Q5. Control V, and you paste it. So now we're going to start building the filling in the spreadsheet. So let's go and put December the 13th. Again, now December will not accommodate the whole thing, so the whole contents of the word month December. So let's take the mouse pointer, go up between A and B, it'll turn to a crosshair. Now we can change the width. There. Now regular, they worked 80 hours. They worked 5-hour overtime hours at 5 hours. They worked 8 at double time. And the rate is $19.67. Now the regular earnings is a formula. So the formula is plus, which means going to tell the computer that it's a formula. So plus your rate times is your star times your regular hours. And look what happens. It's going to fill that in. There. 80 hours times 1967 is 1573.6. We'll talk about the 0.6 in a minute. And your overtime hours, so your overtime hours are, it's going to be a combination of two items. It's going to be your 1.5 compensation and 2 times compensation. So let's go equals, and we'll have an open bracket, equals your rate times your number of hours times 1.5. That is going to be your compensation at 1.5 plus open brackets your rate times that asterisk 8 times 2.0. So you can see your formula is what you're saying is your rate times your number of hours at 1.5 times the 1.5 compensation plus your rate times your number of hours at the overtime compensation of 2 times, and that is your overtime earnings. And so your overtime earnings are 462.24.5 .245. Now your taxable benefits is something that you can put in, but in this case here we won't put any in. So now what you say is your taxable earnings is, we're going to put a formula in, at sum, open brackets. So what you're doing is you're saying we're doing a formula, we're doing the at sum of, and if you go and we click into G5, see it shows up there, H5, I5, and close bracket. There, your formula's done for you. And we're just going to put some numbers in. I haven't referred to the tails, but we'll say the CPP is 45.73. The EI is 32.16, and the income tax is $523.55. Pension, in our case, what we're saying is rather than inputting it, if you were inputted, you're going to change that to yellow, right? That's right. But in our case, we're going to say that the pension premium is plus whatever your regular earnings are times 0.05, which is 5% of your regular earnings, is your pension premium. And your health and dental is $47.35. Your union dues are $18.95, and your charity is $10 per pay.